Constitution's just a ghost in chains. Freedom slipping down the drains. Rise up, break the chains. No billionaire should run the game. Lying, scheming, stealing rights. If we don't fight, we lose tonight. End of democracy comes in waves. Justice buried in shallow graves. Stand up loud, don't be the slaves. Unmake the cage, unmake the cage. Tick tock, time's running out. They're burning the laws, there ain't no doubt. Oh no, America, what you gonna do? Rights getting burned and they're coming for you.
Wow, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hold the applause. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for being here. It's been a hot, very hot, boiling hot minuto since I've been here, but hey, we're back. Hey. Okay, so there's breaking news right now about the tariffs. I'm not going to go over that. So please hold your comments and questions for tomorrow's show, where we will be discussing tariffs. Okay, but today we are discussing immigrants. They get the job done. To quote the great Lin-Manuel Miranda. And why are we talking about immigration today? Because while all the stock market, hoopla, kerfluffle, everyone's money's gone, we're not looking at what the other hand is doing. Okay. So what the other hand is doing right now is dastardly. Okay. We're going to watch a little bit of this press conference that Kristi Noem did this morning. Yeah, this was actually just a couple hours ago, holding a press conference about immigrants and crime, furthering this narrative that crime is caused by immigrants, right? Like not by people born here in America, but literally immigrants. And Trump did that again in this press conference that he's just having with the NASCAR drivers again. So yeah, let's just go to it. Let's just start here. All right, so let's bring this up full screen here. And there he is. We'll just put our Cheeto in chief right there. Here we go.
Patient this afternoon. We were spending some time together with these families behind me and sharing their stories, but also sharing about what this office will do, the work that it.
So notice the signs behind her here. Okay. Voice. This is a new thing they're putting out there. Victims of immigration crime engagement. Victims of immigration crime engagement. You have a toll-free number you can call to give hot tips about, crimey people who, are doing crimes. So yeah, fun. Also, guys, just please remember to put comment or question if you have a comment or question, so I can get to that at the end. Okay. Let's listen in on a little bit more here. I'm going to speed this up though.
It will do in bringing grieving families together, but also the advocacy that it can facilitate for them going forward and helping prevent future tragedies like theirs, but also bringing together folks for real solutions and policy, not just at the federal level, but also for state and local level as well. It was a powerful time together, and it did go longer than expected, but for me, I'll be forever changed by the stories these families told, the details they told me, but also the advice.
It went longer than expected. Like she had to listen to people for a long, long time. She's very distressed.
Wisdom that they've given from years of suffering and grief, but also knowing that loss in your life changes everything forever. Listening to them speak, you recognize the reality of what grief is.
Did nobody tell her that she had a sweaty upper lip? They should have told her.
That when you lose someone that is this important to you in your life, that forever, the rest of your life is determined by that day. That everything that you reference from that is though that was before they were taken from us.
Yeah. I've been through a lot of death in my life, from various ages, and death leaves an impact. No matter how the death occurs. That's just, facts. It just leaves, a hole in your life.
Or that happened after the day we lost Jocelyn, or that happened before Drew was killed in an overdose. And that is what these families' lives were forever changed by what happened to them and what gives them the strength to stand up here now and continue to tell their stories.
So we're going to blame all overdoses on immigrants. That that doesn't even make sense. Okay. That doesn't even make sense to blame every single overdose that occurs everywhere in America on immigrants. What are we even talking about?
I truly believe that one of the greatest honors of getting to be the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security is getting to interact with Americans like these families that don't believe that they have special gifts or talents or think that they have something incredible within them that makes them want to stand up and
These guys are so ordinary, guys. They are beyond ordinary. These are the most ordinary people I've ever spent any amount of time with other than standing in line at Starbucks.
in front of people and share their stories. It's that they have incredible strength because of what happened to them, and because they found that strength within them to tell their stories and their testimony, that they literally saved America.
Okay. That's a bridge. That is a bridge beyond far. Okay. So we know this, and we also know right now, oops, that's just my search. Here we go. So US says it's now monitoring immigrants' social media for anti-Semitism. Now we have to be very specific about this, guys. This is very specific. Okay. And this is where I'm going to trigger warning, America. We are going to be talking about Palestine, and we are going to be talking about anti-Semitism and the differences between a pro-Zionist agenda and supporting, people. Okay. So there's a lot of hoopla in the media right now about Israel and who you support and how you support that. Okay. And it seems very clear to me. We're going to play a couple other things here, but it seems very clear to me what that means in my mind. Okay. And in my opinion, you can be pro-Jewish and pro-Palestinian, because I'm just pro people being alive, right? And getting to live the life that they want to live, however they choose to live that. Okay. Pro-Israel, right, is a whole other bag of chips. Okay. That is not the same thing, right? It's the same way about, saying I'm pro-America, a pro the United States, or I support American people. Okay. So I just want to throw that trigger warning out there. Just so you guys know, that's what we're going to be talking about. I welcome your comments, questions. Please put comment or question. And also don't spam the chat. Thank you. Okay. So let's get back to this article here. All right. So this is from NPR. This is from earlier today, literally like a few minutes ago. Okay. But Eastern time. So this is a few hours ago. All right. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has announced it will begin screening immigrant social media for evidence of anti-Semitic activity as grounds for denying immigration benefits requests. The screenings will affect people applying for permanent resident status, as well as foreigners affiliated with educational institutions, aka students. Okay. The policy will go into effect immediately. Immediately. In a statement issued Wednesday morning, the Department of Homeland Security said it will protect the homeland. I hate that fucking term so much for America. From extreme and terrorist aliens, including those who support anti-Semitic terrorism, violent anti-Semitic ideologies, and anti-Semitic terrorist organizations such as Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, or the Houthis. Okay. Being pro-Palestinian and saying Palestinian people should have rights is not the same thing as being pro-jihad. For fuck's sake, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of Palestinian people that have nothing to do with Hamas, the PIJ, and Hezbollah or the Houthis. Like, come on. Let's be fucking real about this, okay? The IRS is now teaming up, okay, to get this done. The IRS finalizes a deal to share tax information with immigration authorities. For all those people out there, for all those people who are out there that were like, oh, the immigrants are stacking our system. They don't give anything back. You know what? You know what immigrants have been doing since it was invented? Whether they're legal or not, fucking filing IRS taxes. Fucking paying taxes. And now the IRS is going to hand over those tax records so those people can be located and deported more easily and just rounded up at their jobs and shit. This is actual insanity, guys. Okay? The Internal Revenue Service has reached an agreement with immigration authorities to share tax information about some immigrants without legal status, making a major change in how tax records can be used. I'm sorry. What? Now all of a sudden the tax records are just, here you go. Have at it. The Memorandum of Understanding between the IRS and the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, was signed on Monday and made public the same day in a court filing. It's not clear when information sharing between the two agencies will begin. It probably already happened. Okay? Under the terms of the deal, ICE officers can ask IRS for information about immigrants who have final orders of removal or are under criminal investigation, including the crime of failing to leave the country after 90 days. So now everybody's under criminal investigation, guys. Now everybody's under criminal investigation. Hey-oh, and just to put the cherry on top, remember that app that the Biden administration started that Trump stopped and then was like, oh, just kidding, we're going to revamp this app? So all the migrants who put their shit on that app saying, okay, I'm going to get in line like you guys told me. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to get in the line. What are they doing now? They should leave immediately. This is a warning. If you have friends, family members, coworkers who came into the U.S. via that app, tell them, pack their shit. Because guess what? Okay? This person was working a regular shift at a California Walmart. They were working on Monday when she got a notification on her phone. Uh-oh, hot dog. It was an email from the Department of Homeland Security. It's time for you to leave the United States, the email began. DHS is now exercising its discretion to terminate your parole immediately. Your parole period here in America as an American. She's a Venezuelan woman who asked NPR to use the initial of her first name because of her immigration status. Panicked. I got nervous, desperate. Okay. Even though I came in through the appointment, she did it in the line. She had a fucking line. Okay. Even though I came in through CPP1 appointment, I don't feel safe. She shouldn't. She absolutely should. No, I'm not going to do that. Thank you. The Trump administration is telling some migrants who entered the U.S. using the CPP1 mobile app to leave immediately as part of the broader push to revoke temporary legal status for migrants who entered during the Biden administration under a legal authority known as humanitarian parole. Okay, starting in January of 2023, the CPP1 allowed migrants to schedule appointments at legal ports of entry instead of crossing the border illegally to seek asylum. So these guys did the thing we've been asking migrants to do. They got in the fucking line and went to the correct place to meet the people and talk to them and fill out the paperwork. But this is why they're saying they're doing it, right? Canceling these paroles is a promise kept to the American people to secure our borders and protect national security. I'm sorry. These are the people who got in the line. You told them to get in and crossed at the place with the people that are in charge of the crossing. What the fuck else are they supposed to do? Okay. She came with her 2 kids in July of 2024 after waiting in Mexico for an appointment for 8 months. She could have had a whole other fucking kid, basically. They are among the more, ready? 936,000 migrants who use that app to get in this country legally. Legally. Trump administration has already moved to terminate parole for more than 500,000 people, including this woman who's working at Walmart. What threat is this woman and her 2 children to you at home right now, to me, while she's standing there in Walmart doing her Walmart shit? I'm seriously asking, okay? It's completely bonkerdoodles to me that this is where we're at in America, that we tell people, oh, you can't come here illegally. You got to do it the right way. So then they devise a 21st century correct way to do it, okay, under the Biden administration. And then because Trump doesn't like anything that Biden did, because his big fat bitch baby, he's like, all those people that came in that way is wrong, 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 wrong. And now we're supposed to just do what? Just throw all these people away? Like, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even fucking hold water. Okay. So now we're going to get into Palestine and Israel. Okay. We're going to get a little deep here. So as you guys know, Netanyahu was in town for literally, a quickie and met with, a bumpity bump, trumpety dump. Okay. Let's just watch a teeny tiny bit. It's a 51-minute fucking interview. We're not going to go over that whole thing because I physically can't listen to either of them that long. But let's go over the very first part of this, whatever we want to call this. Okay. Look at Marco over here. Look at fucking JD. And then we've got the Israeli guys. Look at Netanyahu.
Moments ago.
Here we go.
Person. I've dealt with him for a long time, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. And we had lunch together. We had meetings together, along with his very capable staff. And I think we've come up to some pretty good solutions and conclusions. And we'll be working a little bit after this. And then I assume you're going back home.
Yes, sir.
This is a quick stop, in and out. But we appreciate you being here, and we are a friend of Israel, as you know. I would say that I'm by far the best president that Israel has ever even thought of seeing.
We are a friend of Israel, and I'm by far the best president that Israel has, thought about having a relationship with. These are very loud and clear dog whistles. Not only to Netanyahu sitting right next to him, but also to the radical nationalist Christian right saying, yes, I'm going to fulfill your prophecy. I'm going to make it happen, right? So that the, fucking rapture can happen. That's what this is all about. Like, it's wrapped up in economics, in white supremacy, in fucking Christian nationalism. It's a whole bag of chips, guys. Okay, so we got a little bit more here.
And it's an honor to be so, and to be so thought of. And many friends in Israel. They are not in an easy area. It doesn't go easy, but we are helping them. And likewise, they've been helping us very much. And so we'll see how it all works out. But we had great discussions today, I think, on the obvious subject of Iran, and also the less obvious subject with respect to Israel, and that's trade.
So they talked about Iran, right? Because obviously Iran might team up with one of Israel's, enemies and supply them with big boom, boom, bang, bangs, right? And so that's kind of a big deal. And we've been putting really a lot of pressure on Iran, in case you guys didn't know. So, in case you're not ready and you don't have your own, underground nuclear bunker set up and ready for the apocalypse that's coming, maybe you should figure that out, because this is now like the 5th press conference where he's mentioned Iran, and that they should really start, playing the right way. Okay. Like, it's not good, guys. It's not good.
And I think the Prime Minister is going to tell you a little bit about trade and what they're doing for the United States. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Benjamin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Don. Thank you. Mr. President, I want to first thank you for inviting me again to the White House. You've been a remarkable friend of the State of Israel. You stand by us. You're standing with us. You are a great, great champion of our lives. And you actually do the things that you say you do. And I think the people respect that enormously. I certainly do, and the people of Israel do. And I think the Jewish people do as well.
So this is, again, the Jewish people. No, Netanyahu, you don't represent all Jewish people, okay? You don't represent the views of every Jew on the planet. You don't get to claim that.
Just saw your representative in the Department of Justice fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel.
Yeah, fighting anti-Semitism. This is the dog whistle that they're giving to any pro-Palestinian argument anywhere, on a school campus, during a protest, on the internet right now, what I'm doing in this fucking broadcast. Anyone who has something positive to say about Palestine is a target, and they are automatically labeled anti-Semitic, which is fucking bullshit and insane. Okay? That is what anti-Semitic means right now. It means pro-Palestine, and pro-Palestine means anti-Semitic. Because if you don't support Netanyahu's genocide in Palestine while trying to fight Hamas, then you're anti-Semitic.
International forums. I just want you to know from the heart, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. As you said, we had the opportunity to talk today about many subjects. First, if I can mention tariffs, it's a subject of some interest today. I can tell you that I said to the President a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Just so weird that Israel, first of all, was totally left off the tariff list anyway. But now, watch what he says in the next sentence here.
We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize
the trade barrier. So he's making Israel business friendly. He wants American business dollars to go to Israel to build businesses there. And then Israel and America will have like their very, very low, it's not going to cost us a lot of money to bring things here and bring things there because we're best buddies, best buddies. What? All because we are like blindly supporting this man and his genocide. Okay. Let me put Trumpity Dump away here for a second, because now we're going to go to no, Netanyahu, no. Okay. We're going to watch this video here. I'm not going to speed it up. I want you to hear, someone that you guys may not have thought as somebody who was going to be eloquent and teach us all a lesson and a journey on what this actually means. And that's Macklemore. All right. Let's get into it. This is from a week or so ago, a rally being held for Mahmoud.
I'm honored to be here tonight and share the stage with such amazing people, share this space with such amazing people. And I don't say that just to like say it. I really feel that. I feel honored to be here tonight, witnessing this moment. I probably type way too much shit, so just bear with me. In October of 2023, my life was going through an upheaval. The future of my marriage and the state of my life was in flux. I was living in pain, fear, and that ache in my heart that you cannot escape, the one that comes in waves, grieving a reality that I had previously taken for granted as always being there. Stable, safe, predictable, that had vanished. And I was on the road at the time, touring in the States when October 7th happened. In previous eras of my life, maybe I could have ignored it. Maybe I could have scrolled past the days, months, and almost a year and a half of what was to come. But with my heart already being in a place of raw and vulnerable state that it was in, and the genocide that was underway in Gaza, it was impossible to ignore. I couldn't get on stage and pretend I was okay. I was not okay. I started learning about the history of the occupation, the political ideology of Zionism, Israeli settlers of the West Bank. I was watching videos coming out of Gaza and crying with friends. I started learning about how colonization, capitalism, and white supremacy need each other to exist and how they were at the root of the neck. But 76 years ago, that never ended for the people of Palestine.
It's very powerful, the history lesson that we're going to get here in this speech.
I was taking it all in, and I was silent. I was scared. I was thinking about myself. I didn't want to be labeled anti-Semitic. I didn't want to get canceled and lose my career. I didn't want to lose fans. I didn't want to offend anyone. But at a certain point, I couldn't believe those voices anymore. My heart had just enough cracks in it that the light of Palestinian resistance, struggle, and unwavering faith cracked it open. I was experiencing what happens when the internal pain from being silent outweighs the risk of speaking up in moments of injustice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you learn the real history, you can't unlearn it. Once you get past the media and the White House focusing solely on October 7th, once you begin to look at October 6th, 5th, 4th, and the 75 years before of oppression and displacement, that's when the truth opens up. And once you look under the hood and realize our government officials are bought and paid for by the Israel lobby, you can't look at our so-called democracy the same way. Once you understand that our tax dollars are funding a genocide that we are watching in real time in the palm of our hands, I believe it is our moral obligation to adamantly protest the atrocities we are witnessing and funding, or we are complicit. But lecturing others about morals doesn't work. I've tried. I post more. I share directly from Palestinians in Gaza. I uplift the beautiful Jewish voices in solidarity. I am inspired by scholars and academics, those that have spent their lives researching and learning, dispelling notions that Judaism and Zionism are connected. I write songs. I try to channel the insanity that I feel inside. But I don't know how to deal with this mad world that we were not meant to metabolize. The gaslighting, the lying, the bias, the language, who is a terrorist and who isn't, disregard of international law, disregard of American law, rewriting history, the erasure of truth in our schools. Don't you see it? Don't you get it? We have to fight. I get louder, but in the process, the last 6 months, I have become hardened. My heart that was open in October of 2023 feels distant at times. My ability to meet people where they are at has declined. My judgment of those to look away, remain silent, or centering their own fear has only risen as the months have gone on. I have wanted the world to wake up so desperately that a part of me has fallen asleep.
I feel his words in my bones. Like we're having, the same.
And I keep coming back to the question, how do we get people to care? How do we get people to care? And it stumped me for the last 18 months. And in this last week, I've realized I've been asking the wrong question. The question isn't how we get others to care. It's how can we be of the utmost service to humanity? Because change, change occurs when we cultivate our own light, not dimming ours to match another's shadow. Change doesn't occur by calling each other out, but by calling each other in. Change isn't achieved in righteousness. It isn't found in resentment. Change doesn't happen with shaming another. No one has a spiritual awakening from being yelled at and hearing your own voice reverberate throughout the echo chamber of folks that already feel the same way that you do isn't stopping Israel and the United States any faster.
This goes for everything that's going on right now, this speech, but especially Israel and Palestine.
True change occurs in the spirit. You cannot transmit love if you don't have it yourself. You can't force empathy and compassion on another if you lose those gifts along the way. If I am righteous with my heart closed, pointing the finger and yelling at people who feel differently than me, I am drinking the same poison I am protesting against. Division, them, us, right, wrong. So in this moment of dire urgency, with the next phase of genocide and ethnic cleansing underway, with our feeds flooded with a new era of martyred innocent Palestinians, when we open up our phones with our rage, our tears, our unanswered pleas in the face of a fascist government, how can we bring people in? How can we meet people where they are at? Coming to the table with all the stories we have been told, with all the baggage our ancestors accumulated along the way. Because we've been told some lies. Lies that uphold oppression, that double down on division. Lies that fueled fear as a mechanism to drive us further apart from one another. How do you show the necessity of collective liberation if we have never truly experienced it? How do you uproot the insane notion that we are separate from the Palestinian struggle? How does our own fear influence how we respond or justify violence against the most vulnerable populations? How do we unsubscribe to past generations' fences, walls, identities that perpetuate the disease thinking them versus us? How do we mobilize? Our history teaches us that the oppressed are never handed their freedom by the oppressor when asking politely. As people, we are far more powerful than our governments want us to believe. And when we infiltrate their systems of oppression with boycotting, divesting, and protesting, things change. That is why the Biden and the Trump administration cracked down on Meta, TikTok, and demonized students peacefully protesting like Mahmoud Khalil. Because this new way of learning and spreading the truth, it's actually working.
Yep.
My heart is not the only one that has been opened by Palestine. Millions of people around the world are having the same awakening from witnessing Palestinian faith, resistance, and struggle. The narrative is shifting. The people are the storytellers. The old guard of relying on Western media for accurate reporting is in shambles. They want to control the narrative, and they cannot.
Boom. There's like 85 mic drops in this speech. We're not even done yet.
And that is why Trump's administration is so threatened by teaching the real story of America. One that is rooted in genocide and slavery. They don't want us to draw lines and see parallels of resistance movements of the past. Education is their greatest threat. The people united with shared analysis is powerful medicine. We believe it because we have seen it. We watched segregation crumble, slavery be abolished, apartheid in South Africa dismantled. We learned from the sit-ins, the Montgomery bus boycott, Columbia students in the 60s taking over Hens Hall.
Yep.
We have been shown by previous generations what it looks like to resist oppression in the seemingly insurmountable systems of supremacy that fall apart. Protesting against genocide, illegal occupation, and ethnic cleansing isn't complicated. Advocating for safety and equality for all human beings isn't against anyone, it's for everyone.
Boom.
We are literal guests on this earth, a rock spinning in space. We are here to make it better for all, not some. Not just for ourselves or the people that look like us or speak the same language or believe in the same God, but for those that are suffering the most. The structures that enable us to emotionally distance ourselves from another's fight to exist must be eradicated.
I get goosebumps every time I hear this. I'm literally head to toe goosebumps.
What comfort are we willing to give up for justice? What seat at the table are we willing to share for a more equitable and just society? What if we all operated from a place of collective liberation over self-preservation? What if we saw the children of Gaza as our own? What if we heard our own 6-year-old in the voice of Hen Rajab begging to a 911 operator for someone to come save her? What if we saw ourselves in the men and the boys with black bags over their heads, stripped of their clothing, numbered, zip-tied, heading to the most inhumane torture one could imagine? What if we felt their hunger? What if we imagined their thirst? What if we thought about the U.S. bombs pummeling throughout the night, what that would feel like? What if we visualized every university, mosque, community, home, neighborhood, memories buried under the same rubble that was suffocating our relatives and our loved ones? What if we saw ourselves? What if we didn't see them? What if we saw us? This moment is the biggest threat to humanity we have ever faced. Mm-hmm. The earth is aching. Mm-hmm. Systemic oppression is advancing at a rate that none of us can keep up with. But we cannot allow our hearts to become hardened. The people of Palestine have given me the greatest gift. They have taught me what actually matters in this finite amount of time we have on this earth. My spirit has been reminded. I want to live in a world where standing up against genocide isn't brave, it's human. Mm-hmm. I want to live in a world where using our platforms to condemn ethnic cleansing isn't a risk, it's a given. I want to live in a world where advocating for the most marginalized isn't rewarded, it is expected. I want my children to know that Palestinian liberation is their liberation, is our liberation. They are not separate. I want all human life to be cherished the same, for all of us to feel safe walking this earth. And I would not have been able to reconnect to my own heart and envision this world had it not been for the people of Palestine. Your immeasurable suffering and pain will not go in vain. It has ignited this world. The next generation is alive, loud, growing, and unapologetically committed to this movement. We will not forget you. We are right here. We are not going anywhere. Free Palestine.
That is one of the singularly best speeches that has happened in the history of mankind. But also the fact that that is what has happened just then, in the wake of Mahmoud Kali, I pronounced his last name wrong, I apologize, being deported, arrested, deported, for having a pro-Palestine rally at NYU. And okay, Oakland. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about, right? Being pro-Jewish is not the same as being a Zionist. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand what that really means, and what this struggle means. So when they say they are going over, I'm so glad Oakland. I'm glad you're here. When they say that they are culling immigrants' social media right now, and they are looking for anti-Semitism, they're looking for people posting Macklemore's speech. They're looking for people who are putting a Palestinian flag emoji after their name, on social media. They're looking for anyone who has anything positive to say about Palestine right now, because they want that message to be shut down. They don't want the truth about genocide to be out there. They don't want the truth about, the fact that America is funding that another genocide, like as if we, and we can't talk about our own genocides here on the homeland, right? Okay. All of these things are connected together, just as Macklemore said. White supremacy and capitalism and genocide have to have each other to exist. They are literally the air that each other breathes. And until we come to terms with that, some of us as white people, and start doing our part to combat white supremacy in every single corner that it comes up, it is only going to get worse. Okay? It is only going to get worse. I want to take your guys' comments and questions, and we're going to leave on a musical note here, just for my bestie Joe, who's one of my mods here. Donna, you're absolutely right. This is the excuse for rounding people up. They are actually looking for other countries besides El Salvador right now to take all of our criminals, all of our violent criminals. They want to just send them wherever they can. Aubrey, it's good to see you, my friend. I have friends who are Jewish and anti-Zionist. They hate what's going on in Gaza. Exactly. And your stepdad is Yemeni. He hates the Houthis. And like me, pro-Palestinian, he hates Hamas. It's very simple. You can be from Yemen and hate a fucking terrorist group. I'm American. I don't like the fucking KKK. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. We don't do this to ourselves. We don't say, oh, everyone in America is a member of the KKK. All Americans should be treated as if they are, completely white supremacist pricks. Of course we don't. Why would we think that? Why would the rest of the world think that? No one in the world thinks like we do. It's insane. Agreed, Donna. Agreed. He is becoming more and more a dictator every single day. Every single day. I need to read American Fascists, the Christian Right, and the War on America. Okay. Well, I just watched Bad Faith. Go watch that film. Yeah. A fun fact about Macklemore. Thank you. Yes, please. His grandma lived in your hometown of Modesto because he's a NorCal baby. They filmed Glorious video there. I love that. Let me get to your questions here. No questions. Okay. Fine enough, guys. That's all right. So, guys, we're gonna leave on Macklemore's new song, which is called Fucked Up. If you haven't heard this song, this should be your new anthem. This is the story of America in a nutshell. We need to literally be standing up. If you can go to indivisible.org and find your local protest, get in on the protesting. The protest that happened this last weekend, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to go out there physically. I was ill, very ill this weekend. And so I did not leave my home. But these protests were fucking amazing. We had over 100 just here in Oregon, over 100 in the reddest, tiniest, smallest towns. Hundreds and thousands of people showed up here in Oregon to say, hands off, mofos, hands off all of our stuff. Okay. So I leave you with Macklemore.
For something to fall for anything. I'm sick, but it's game time. Hey, the world's on fire, we don't own no water, y'all. It may pressure, but white supremacy is still in charge. Talking colonizing Gaza from the White House lawn. But the people mobbing, and we ain't backing off. Finally see the oligarchy and men that control us all. Tax breaks for the elite, and then they taxing y'all, killing Palestinian kids, and we getting hit with the cost. Why the fuck you think you can't afford the rent in your building, and you can't afford groceries and debt in your feelings, and you know how the West thinks. It's all about the West Banks. Call a ceasefire, then start annexing the West Bank. How you think Israel gets money for the best tanks, and Netanyahu loves Trump? He's like, yeah, thanks. That's your money, and yes, it's all connected, and they controlling your feed. The information that they censor, blocking hashtags. Can't say free Palestine. This 2 weeks in, think where we'll be around July. But you know us Americans, out of sight, out of mind, and they know it too. That's why they running game on our lives. But they got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. You can bomb my mosque, but you can't bomb faith. You can't kill people, resistance grows in the wake. And while our president sends billions to Israel safes, ethnic cleansing's never gonna make Israelis feel safe. More blood, more weapons, more money, more oppression, more hate, more fear, more walls, and more settlements. The colonizer just spoke to us at the White House. What we said was gonna happen is happening right now. Nah, they marching home. Yeah, that's resilience. Millions celebrating like the world was walking with them. You in the palm of God, no man will ever catch you flinching. They can never burn the olive tree that lives within them. The next 4 years, it's time to ride. Fuck ICE, free Congo, Sudan, and Palestine. If you still haven't said shit about the genocide, know your grandkids one day are gonna ask you why. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. And Elon, we talking cobalt on the next one.
Thank you, as always, to my mods. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We got to stand up. We got to make our voices heard here in America. Don't delay. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, subscribe. Become a member. Hit up my link tree. And I'll see you guys next time.
Rice getting burned and they're coming for you.